Hello everyone, welcome back once again to On the Couch with David and Travis.
This was episode 21. He was aware that he was still a child. This, not counting either of the endings, is my favorite episode. I don't think it's trying to say anything sort of deep or maybe even meaningful, but it is just really good entertainment. I feel like it's very fast-paced, and every scene, every line, sort of gives you something of character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What did you think?
I really liked it. I think in terms of just information that's vital for me to know later on, it delivered it in a very engaging way. It was quick enough where it didn't feel like it was just an information dump. Because like we've seen in the episodes previously, it felt like at points where there's just a lot of information coming in all at once, and it felt like an overload. Whereas this time around, I felt like it moved along at a quick enough pace, but also like was engaged enough within the characters that they were talking about that the information that they gave us that we need to know for later episodes felt really engaging.
There's a lot of things I just really love about this episode. The first, which I think is a huge commendation, is we talked about the reuse of assets.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is entirely original models, original outfits, original sets, original backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like one they put a lot of time and effort to. And I feel like it's a necessary one, because a lot of these characters, Gendo, Fuyutsuki, even Ritsuko, we just haven't seen that many other sides of them.
Yeah.
And we get this, I think it was 8 or 9 years earlier, or 10 years earlier. They're
Well,
almost
16 years earlier. It starts in 1999.
They're all almost completely different people.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see a new side of Gendo, which is great. We get to see a new side of this. There's a lot of little touches I'll get into. But what I love most of all is just sort of how it gives all these characters a motivation. And I think that's what elevates a piece of entertainment, is why are these characters doing what they're doing. In a different show, maybe Fuyutsuki's his right-hand man. That's all he is. He helps out.
Mm-hmm.
But we can go back here and see that there's a very clear reason why, and it's not deep, it's not great. Mm-hmm. It's a woman, essentially, but it's a reason. And we also just see some of the weirder behaviors, too, like Gendo being physical with Ritsuko or Dr. Akagi Sr.
Yeah.
Which is just really bizarre, but when you think about it, it just sort of makes sense for this.
My favorite parts were Dr. Akagi. I thought she was a really
her
interesting
character and
really
her daughter
unique
is great.
Really unique, really interesting, a lot different than I was expecting. And I mean, my favorite scene is when she suffocates Ray. That is so. It is so, like, they went there, she literally strangled a 6-year-old child.
You see the limp arms. It's
crazy. It is insane, but it makes so much sense thematically because we can tell that Gendo told Dr. Akagi that Yui was an old hag, and we know that he used that language because she had the wide look in her eyes and did the flashback. So then when Ray told her that, she's like, well, I must be like as important to him as Yui. And it's just like this beautiful realization that he played me. I didn't realize it, but he completely and utterly played me and betrayed me and my trust. And rather than taking it out on Gendo himself, I'm going to take it out on this 6-year-old child.
I mean, they could have done it where she overhears him saying it or something, but this was so much more effective for her to get it from another person, because it implies that's how he talks about her when she's not around.
Mm-hmm. And it's awesome, because then she went, after she kills her, she's basically like, you think you're so special, but he can replace you too, mm-hmm. which is basically kind of a metaphor for how he treats people in general.
And it's this great sort of setup they have too, where they start getting this balancing act of, we can compare it more later, but how Shinji has these multiple women in his life that he's kind of juggling, balancing. It's all very weird. Mm-hmm. But Gendo has the same thing.
But it's in a much different way.
No, but I mean, if you just look at it it just makes me think of like I said, a big part of the show is, like father, like son, like mother, like daughter. And you could see they did some really subtle touches too about Ritsuko and her mother's relationship. I thought this was great. when you see her when she's younger, she looks exactly like her mother.
Mm-hmm.
She has the darker hair.
Yeah.
And you can see she got older and became more bitter with her mother. She bleached her hair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something somebody would totally do. You look in the mirror, oh, I look like my mom and I hate her. I'm going to change my hair.
Mm-hmm. Although it seems weird because there wasn't really a lot about to hate her besides the whole, her sleeping with
Well,
Gendo
she talks
thing.
about how she wasn't a good mother.
Yeah.
And how she didn't really...
And that goes later. I think this time around it seemed like they had, besides that Gendo thing, like it seems like they had a pretty congenial, or at least good relationship. But
well, he obviously started getting physical with her like right after Yui's death, so...
Oh, I think it was happening before then.
Oh, no. I don't think so. I think it's very, very intentional that he was devoted to Yui, and after she died, he was just willing to do whatever he needed to get what he wanted. And I think a little touch with that is he takes her name.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's true.
This
that's
is
true.
1994 in Japan.
99.
So that I'm talking about when the show came out.
Oh, sorry.
So the idea of a man taking a woman's name in marriage is really uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even common today.
Mm-hmm.
So having that is just like, I think, a huge character
Indicator.
point of how much he truly cared about her.
It's true.
And then, that's great because him and Fuyutsuki are kind of brothers in arms, or they're sort of, they both have the same mission of we want to preserve Yui's memory. And they can sort of, they don't like each other. But
I was about to say they're kind of like a check and a balance.
It works because they don't like each other, but you buy that these two guys would work together for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a basic thing. I did something for a woman, but it's set up in this way. She's not a deep character. She's not an interesting character, really.
Mm-mm.
But in the way it's set up in this show, it just makes sense.
And they basically tell us that Rei is Yui,
Well, it's a little bit weirder than that.
It's weirder than that, but we can tell that she is connected to Yui.
Well, she's meant to replace her,
mm-hmm.
which even ties into another thing of Gendo's balancing these women in his life. Okay, what does that mean? What are the implications of that with Rei? Considering she's either like a 16-year-old girl or a 14-year-old girl, it's interesting.
It's messed up. Well, I mean,
he's obviously a messed up person.
Obviously, it's also makes you think if let's just say beyond the whole human developing humans, is it so far removed from Gendo's wife dies, so he goes to Dr. Akagi and replaces her that way? Is it better or worse?
Yeah, we don't have the answer. It's something.
Something you gotta is it better or worse that he sought another human, or he decided to make a human for himself?
And I think the whole idea of him making a person is, again, this huge commentary by the creators of sort of otaku culture and fetishizing anime girls, sort of creating your own girlfriend. You get what I'm saying there?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. We've talked about it before.
I think it's commentary on that. I think it's subtle too.
Well, it's why go through all of the... and I'm not actually advocating for this. Why go through all of the hassle, all of the heartbreak, all of the getting used to each other, putting your toothbrush in the same cup kind of stuff with another human, when you can just develop something that's way easier for you?
It's crazy.
It's sad, but that's how people think about it.
And God, this episode is framed as an interrogation, and that helps... Because if it didn't have a unique framing device, they couldn't just throw all these sort of...
And it makes me wonder what Sele is more.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was those guys.
Well, Sele, no, it's the metal, or it's the obelisks.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because I'm guessing it's inspired by 2001 Space Odyssey. At least that's what it makes me
so it's what is really going on with them?
Things just keep getting...
It gets
out there,
stranger and
but
weirder.
just giving this, it's not uncommon to do a backstory episode, but to have all these different characters given these really clear arcs that started, and it goes, that's what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. I love it so much.
I think they also appropriately do not reveal everything about Gendo in this episode.
They don't reveal anything, but they don't. No, not at all. They've revealed very little. Weirdly enough, about. We didn't actually learn that much in this.
We basically learned that he met through Fuyutsuki. He met Yui through Fuyutsuki because Yui was Fuyutsuki's student, and then he was in charge of him.
But in terms of what's going on with the angels... And
well,
the
no.
angels, yeah, we did.
But, like, what we know all that backstory now. So then we can focus on the new stuff that's happening right now.
And this was a great conclusion to Kaji.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, he wasn't the most interesting character, but his relationship with Misato and the other characters was very believable. He was a very kind character. His design and his voice were great. And it's sad at the end.
Yeah, it is.
When Misato's crying about him. It's a great scene, too.
It's because, I mean, she knows.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she knows, when she sees the message, she's like, well,
but that scene where Shinji... She comes home, Shinji's going through some stuff.
Yeah.
She sees that, and she just sort of ignores it. Then she's going through some stuff, Shinji sees it, and he just sort of ignores it. They're both going through these things, but they're so down, they can't even try to help each other. And this isn't nearly as low as these characters are going to go, but that's a beautiful demonstration of these people are so low, they won't even try to help each other.
Yeah.
Well, what were you thinking?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, and it's not the creators of the story at all that are at fault, but I don't. It's just like in real life, like I feel like it's almost too easy, that way of like, well, I'm sad, so that means I can't help anybody else. Like the idea, and I'm not saying like the creators were wrong to insert that because that's what people think.
But it's an idea of I have so much baggage, I can't carry another person's right now.
Yeah,
you know.
But that also neglects the idea that compassion and helping other people also helps yourself.
Yeah, well, again, we're supposed to be seeing ourselves in these characters, but not in a good way. It's not supposed to be an attractive
and what
mirror.
I'm saying is, like, it should not, like, we should recognize that what the makers are trying to tell us is that this is not good behavior for either of them, and that's part of their downfall, is the idea that they cannot fully be able to comprehend how to help out one another. And that's part of their downfall.
Here's something I wonder, a question I wrote down. Do you think Dr. Akagi Sr. killed herself, or Gendo killed her?
I think Gendo killed her.
Just the fact, because it kind of looks like she was shot, because there's blood, but it also kind of looks like she jumped. They just show a quick shot of, like, the chalk outline. Mm-hmm. But they don't tell you, and that's great.
I think Gendo killed her.
Oh, God. That makes it even, that's, like, even worse, too. I mean, God, I don't want to get into the debate of murder versus suicide, but that's just another, tick on, okay, this guy's insane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he developed this human being in the image of his wife that he changed his name for, which tells us that he loved her a lot.
He idolizes her, yeah.
And then, I mean, going into the otaku thing, that's a whole nother thing. And then, the woman that he's, like, romantically linked to kills his daughter, which is supposed to be his representation. I don't think he's
romantically linked with her. I think he's using her for, like, the magi and, like, the science and development
aspect.
Yeah.
But when I say romantically, I mean physically.
Yeah.
And then she, like, kills Rei, which is supposed to be the reimagination of his wife.
He kills her 6-year-old genetically engineered waifu.
Yeah! Basically. So then, of course, there's no indication as to why he wouldn't kill her.
Yeah, it's good.
It's interesting. That's what makes it good. And what makes it good is that they go there and they show her physically
killing
with her hands
child. It's great.
Around the neck. Like, this is scenes, and it's not like child murder is good. It's like, no, if you are going to go there, go there. And like, again, there is no point. Don't hold any bars back, because if you're going to go there, frickin' go there.
And this is 1994 TV.
Yeah.
So they're getting really ballsy here.
Yeah. But they did it purposefully. And
the way they shoot it, too, is they cut a lot away from it, but it's not to hide you from the violence, it's to make it even more intense.
Yeah.
With the imagery.
Well, they just zoom in just on her fingers, and you can just see, and you don't even see, like, her face, it's just, you can see the flesh beneath the fingers.
The arms go limp.
And then the arms go limp, and then there's, like, the back shadow, of them in profile, and that's all you see of it. But it's so effective because it still shows us enough violence in order for it to be felt, but it also isn't, like, so gratuitous that it just becomes ridiculous.
But there's still an aspect of it, even though Gendo is such this bad guy. It's like what you said last time. I don't want to see him be the bad guy.
Yeah, there is nothing less interesting than, like, I'm evil because I'm evil.
Well, I'm glad they haven't built it up that way.
Yeah, and, like, I don't like the idea of, well, I want to create a god, so I'm gonna kill anyone in my way who gets like that. To me, that's not interesting. So I'm glad we're developing a little more than that.
Oh yeah, and there's reasons why. That makes me think there was a lot of Jesus Christianity symbolism.
Well, I was smart here. I figured it out.
Well, I didn't figure cross. That's what you. Well, there was a
cross. There was like a shadow behind Gendo in one scene where he was talking with Fuyutsuki that was a cross, and it was literally like shaped like a cross would be. So it like that imagery is constantly.
When we kind of get that click moment where this is Adam. From Adam, we created Ava.
Yeah.
Eve. Yeah. Not now, Mom. I'm filming.
Okay, sorry.
So from
that's not Travis's mom. That's our assistant.
House cleaner. From Adam was created Eva. That's at least again smarter than just throwing crosses. I think.
Yeah.
On there, it makes it. It's interesting. It's really the big word here. This is entertaining. This is interesting.
Lots of stuff going on.
Lots to talk about.
But it's all juggled well.
It's weird to think how far we are from some of the previous episodes we watched earlier in this series.
Yeah.
Because it is, again, it's impossible to understand how much of a different show this is and turns into.
But it also makes sense logically
mm-hmm.
that it produces that it's stepping from what's been made previous. So I think it's good.
So that's that. We got one more week of episodes, and then we have the endings. It's still only the beginning. We've still only scratched
as
the
Davey
surface.
Raiden would call the Zending. Because of games.